I am so excited to try this new recipe from the New York Times cooking page. It's got more than 13,000 5-star reviews, and all that love cannot be wrong. It's got just a few ingredients. It's almost naturally vegan. So let's get started. And I'm going to start with a container of cherry tomatoes and put them into our pan. We're going to drizzle that with olive oil and a little bit of thyme, and we're going to put that right into the oven. We'll give it a stir and pop that into the oven for roasting. Hi, I'm Stephanie, and I try to help people eat better and live longer. And one of the ways we do that is by eating beans. So this roasted tomato and white bean stew is going to be a fantastic way to add beans to our meals. The next step is to make a nice topping for the tomato and white bean stew. We're going to chop up some parsley and put some lemon zest and chop it very fine. I find that these New York Times cooking recipes tend to be a little bit fussy, meaning they have a lot more steps than they need to have, and there's lots of extra things you don't need to do. I have made this type of topping before for a recipe, and I didn't really love it. So I'm going to try it with and without the topping and see if I like it better. Let's set that topping aside and let's go ahead and work on the rest of the soup. We're going to add some oil to our large skillet, and we're going to add in onion, garlic, and some of these red pepper flakes. And we're going to saute that until they're fragrant and softened. While that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and rinse off my cannellini beans and get them ready to go. It looks like the onions are soft now. We can go ahead and add in our beans. And it says to go ahead and mash some of these beans with the back of our spoon so that we have a nice thicker broth. So let's go ahead and do that, and we're going to season that with some salt. Our tomatoes are done roasting, so let's go ahead and add those to the pan. We want to include all the juices. All that good stuff is going to go right into this pan along with our no chicken broth or vegetable broth if you want to use that instead. And we're going to simmer this down for about 5 or 10 minutes. And then it's done. This is a lovely soup. It doesn't take long to make, and let's see what it tastes like. Here's the truth. We didn't really love that recipe. The flavors were excellent, but we didn't like the chunkiness of the tomato. It seemed to be hard to eat. So I'm going to show you my no frills version of the recipe. We're going to cut out all those extra steps that the New York Times had in their recipe, and we're going to just make it my short version, and we'll see which one's better. We'll compare them at the end. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and roast another thing of tomatoes. And instead of chopping my onion and cooking it separately, we're going to just take some chunks of this. I only need half of my onion, and we're going to just drop that right into this pan, and we're going to roast it with the tomatoes. And we're also going to throw the garlic on there as well. I'm going to do a couple of cloves. If you don't know the trick of mashing the garlic with the back of your knife, that's one way to get it right out of that paper and easy. It's a real time saver, right? I'm going to put that in there. We're going to add our oil. We're going to add a little smidge of thyme. Could always use more thyme, right? But y'all are sick of that joke. And then we're going to add some red pepper flakes. We're going to give it a quick stir. And we're going to pop that in the oven, and we're going to let that cook for 20 to 25 minutes. Let's go ahead and rinse another can of cannellini beans. So the beans are rinsed. I am going to go ahead and add a half a cup of beans to my blender now because I want those to blend up with the tomatoes and onions and garlic when we make the nice soup base. But in the meantime, we don't have to saute our onions and garlic anymore, but I do want to go ahead and get this heated up, and I want to add some more vegetables to it so it doesn't feel like it's just beans floating in broth. I always like to add greens when I can because they're one of the best vegetables to eat, and my family doesn't love them very much, so I'd like to tear them up, and they melt down pretty good. So in this soup, people aren't going to notice. I'm also put some fresh basil in this, and that's going to give a lot of great flavor to our soup. I guess I didn't really save a pan on that. I still have one on the stove and one in the oven, but I do think I saved a lot of time chopping. Let's put our broth in here and then our tomatoes. For the broth, I like to use this powdered McKay's chicken style seasoning, or I'll use the Better Than Bouillon no chicken broth. Both are very good, and I'm going to go ahead and use this today. Oops. Okay, it's time to add our tomatoes. Our tomatoes are done. Look how nice and toasty those are. In our blender we have our beans and our broth, but we're adding in our roasted tomatoes, roasted onions, and roasted garlic. This also has a little bit of thyme and a little bit of red pepper flakes in it, so it's going to have a lot of really good flavor. I'm excited. Oops, I missed a tomato. There we go, got him. Okay, let's blend this all up, and it's going to make a nice creamy soup. And we're going to add that to our beans and spinach and basil that we have going on over on the stove. All right, let's add this to our soup. Okay, so here we have our beautiful soup. It's not near as chunky as the last one was, so I think my husband's going to like it better. And it's got our roasted tomatoes, onions, and garlic, along with some fresh basil and some fresh spinach. So let's give it a try. This looks delicious. I can't wait to try it, and I want to compare it to the other soup. I wasn't thinking, my husband might complain a little bit. I didn't chop my spinach real well. I was in a hurry. Ooh, that's really good. I need some salt. So here are both soups together. Let's give it a taste. We have chunky versus smooth, lots of steps versus fewer steps. Let's give it a try. It's good. The flavor is almost identical. They both taste about the same, but I do think I like the smooth version better. So I guess we wouldn't call it a stew anymore. We would call it a soup. But wow, it's got a lot of great flavor. It's another great way to get your beans. I'm gonna make this one regularly, I think. So if you need more great soup recipes, check out the link right here. This is so good.